I thank you guys for tuning in to watch this video again. This is the chapter 2 of HTML. Remember, in our previous video we discussed about the chapter 1, and majorly we covered some text elements like the paragraphs, the headings. So to continue with the text elements today, I'm going to introduce what you call the lists. We're going to discuss the lists. So lists, we have an ordered list, random list with bullets or whatever you want to put them, and also ordered lists. Ordered lists in HTML come numbered, like 1, 2, 3, or Roman numbers, so anything, letters. So those are ordered lists. So we also have description lists. So description lists, you would find that we have let's say definition of something would be a description list. Alright, so let's say you want to define a tab of you want to define a paragraph. So first of all, you're going to have a heading paragraph, and then the description of it, where you define what a paragraph is. So those are the major things that we're going to deal with. Also, we're going to see how to organize our page, okay, and our texts. So HTML5 added other elements that could be used to organize text, such as sections, articles, aside, nav or navigation, and headers and footers. So we're going to look at these things, and majorly we are going to see them at work. Okay, we are going to see them in practical when we are writing this code. So today we are also going to include a little bit of CSS. Remember, we haven't covered CSS, and we haven't covered it in depth, but I'm hoping that this little CSS codes that we add into our lessons gives you an oversight on what CSS requires. So I think we are going to add some little CSS here and there, and to make you practice and know what really it entails. Towards the end of the video, you're also going to introduce a few other things, like the division, even though we've used some of those in our chapter 1 and in our writing, but we're now going to see what really they are: a div, also a span, and we are going to see, I think we covered attributes in our previous lesson, chapter 1, the ID. And if you haven't watched that video, I'm going to put a link of it, chapter 1 here, so that you watch it before you can come to this. But if you're a first learner, you can simply start this one and then connect it with the other one. So we are going to again review ID, IDs, and classes, giving our elements IDs and classes. So I think without much ado, let's just get to the code. So first of all, what you want to do to your HTML document is to save it with the HTML extension. So I have a text editor here, and I'm simply going to save this document as, let me call it tutorial. Let me call it tutorial 12.html. That's the most important part of this thing. So remember, in HTML you don't need any fancy software to write code. You could use the notepad, and you could use any other text editor out there, so long as your document has the extension .html, everything will be fine. So after that, so we want to declare that this is an HTML document doc type HTML. So remember we said this declaration is not that important, but it's a good practice, alright? So that you tell the browser that the document is HTML. After that, we are going to have our HTML link here, HTML tag. Remember in our previous lesson we discussed about the structure of HTML document, where we said you need to put everything under the HTML tag, and then we have a head, right? Have a head, and in our head we said that a title is the most important thing in the head. So let me just call this tutorial 1, right? Tutorial 1, and then we're going to put our styles here. So I'm gonna have another tag called style. So remember we said in our previous video that your styles goes in the head, and if you put your style anywhere else other than the head, it's not going to work. You could also use your external style sheet here by using something called a link and saying the rel equals style sheet, right? And the href equals your style.css. Okay, so this is the name of the file. Alright, that's the name of the file. Then you could close that. Okay, so those are the things that we said should be found in the head. So we're done with that. You could also add things like character set, UTF, whatever, the encoding, but I'm not going to add that for now. So I'm heading straight to the body. So last time we talked about paragraphs and headings, and we were discussing about we said we were having I think it would have been prudent if you used our previous HTML file to simply extend it, but I already deleted it. So we are just going to put the things we had. Alright, so we had an image for a restaurant. We were making a web page for a restaurant called Bistro Restaurant. So we had an image in the src deposit, I think deposit.png, and then we simply closed, and then we had an we used an h1, I think, Bistro. Restaurant. I don't know whether that's the correct spelling for restaurant. It still puzzles me. I haven't found time to. And then we had put a thematic break. So I'm simply rewriting what we had last time. And then we had a paragraph. Okay. In this paragraph, I want just to say we offer food and accommodation. Alright, and then another paragraph would say food ranges from breakfast breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Okay, so those are the paragraph elements from our previous videos, and so today we are adding a new one called the lists. So we are going to list down things that we have. Okay, so I'm simply going to put a break here. We saw breaks in our previous video. After putting a break, I'm going to add a UL, okay, an ordered list, UL. So an ordered list, when you want to add an ordered list, you simply use the UL, and then for every item, you use the list, okay, LI element for every item. So I think here I'm going to introduce, I'm going to put a heading in this list. I'm going to put a heading. I'm going to use heading 3, okay, and I'm going to call the list breakfast, and then I'm going to list the things that we offer. So I'm going to start with boiled eggs. Another list item, I'm going to say, I'm going to have another list item, I'm going to say tea, and then another one, I'm going to say coffee, I'm going to say grilled cheese. I don't know whether it's like that, grilled cheese. Okay, that's enough for that. I'm going to, so that's for breakfast. I'm going to introduce the next element, which is ordered list. Okay, the same thing, in order to list an item, you do this, but first let's put an heading. This list, let's use H3. Right, H3 again. Let me talk about lunch. Listing this, I'm going to put some fish in here. Okay, and then let's list another item. After ugali, I'm gonna put that. Sorry guys if you don't know what ugali is, but if you had been in Africa, especially Kenya, you should know what that is. God, what vegetables, or maybe let me just say greens. There's some greens there, fruit salad. The whites would love this. Fruit salad. Oh, that's all. And then lastly, we are going to add the last list element, which is the description list. So in order to add that, we use a DL, and then we add a label of the list, description list, by saying it's the DT, and then we say the DT, let's call this dinner. Okay, and then the description And I'm gonna say something like dinner is served to our our night. Let me say night. It says I had to come up with this content. Night client who rent the rooms, man. Don't worry about it. Things are right in here. I think that's all for the lists. Alright, so I'm simply going to save this and see how this displays in our website. So I'm simply going to come here. I don't know why we saved it actually. Let me see. Yeah, we saved it here. So actually the image did not show up because we saved it in the wrong directory. So I'm simply going to move this file. I will move it there and reopen it. Okay. Alright, so our image is here. So as you can see, this is the image that you inserted. This one is the H1, which said this restaurant. This is the HR, the thematic break. Draws a line. These are the paragraphs. This is the unordered list. This is the ordered list, and then this one is the description list. So as you can see, this one is the title, dinner. I don't know whether this is right, dinner. This is the dinner, and then the description. Alright. So you could have a lot of lines of description here. Okay, but ideally this is how it's supposed to be. And I'm sorry guys, there's a lot of noise out here. Some women are making noise out there, but don't worry about that. Alright, so we want to style this one like in our previous video. We put the image at the center. We put the H1 at the center, and we push this one a little bit inside. So that's exactly what we're going to do. And so what on the list, what we're going to do is we're going to do what we're going to do is to change the list styles, right? Like you want to put bullets, you remove these bullets, you put something circular, something rectangular and things like that. And also this one, you could also change this one to be Roman numbers, to be letters and things like that. So that's what we are going to do next, and then we probably move to the next thing. So remember we saw that we wanted to see the sections, the articles, their sides, now the headers. So we're also going to do that. So let's come back here, and in our style here, we want to start to style things. So I think we are first going to start with an image, and we could give this image an ID or a class. Let's give it a class logo. So if you haven't known what a class is, this is just how to identify our elements specifically. So we could use a class or or an ID. So in our case, for this image, we are going to use a class, or maybe let's use an ID. Okay, it's still logo. On the image, let me use an ID, so that there is a. And then for this H1, we're going to use a class. All right. Let me say heading. Okay. And then this one, the paragraphs, I don't really want to give them any classes. We're going to define them by their tag names. And then the UL, I think that also we have only one UL there, one OL and one DL. So we are going to style them by their tag names. And what I mean by defining by styling them by their tag names is using, saying, for example, UL, OL, P, alright, H3, like the way they are. So I'm going to start with the image and say ID logo. So I'll put a hash there and then say logo. Okay, that's how we refer to an ID. Put an hash and then say the name of the ID. So on the logo, we are going to give it a margin left, margin left to 50%. Okay, margin left to 50%, and then we are going to do something like transform. Okay, translate X, and then say negative 50%. So if you're just, for the first time, okay, I think we have a problem here. I'm just going to copy this so that I'm going to close this and then reopen it. And then I'm going to control the V and then save. So if you're just meeting CSS for your first time, this is what a CSS code looks like. We are going to use the tag style, and then for you to style something that was referred to as using an ID, you put an hash and then the name of the ID and then curly brackets, and then everything goes inside the curly brackets. So for what you want to do, you put it there, put a colon, put the value of it, and then close with a semicolon. So what we're doing here is to move the image, which would give an ID of logo, towards left by 50%. Okay, 50% of the width of the entire HTML. Then after moving it to the 50% left, we want to bring it back 50% of its size. Okay, so that it's at the very center. And then we save that. The heading, we are going to move this heading. Alright, we simply are going to say text center. Let me just say something like class of heading. So we give it a class of heading right here. So we're going to say text align. We say center. Okay, that should center everything. Center that heading. And then the next thing you're going to style here, are the paragraphs. We are going to push them inside a little. So we are going to say the paragraph, simply use the P, and then we say margin left, rerem. Okay, we're pushing them a little bit inside, and then we want to target the UL. We're going to target the UL. So let me just do that. Say UL. Okay, I'm gonna do list style, and then say circle. I don't know whether that's gonna work, but I think it's going to work. This style circle, and then we could target also the OL. Let's say list style. Roman. I don't know whether that works. We'll see. We'll see whether that works. I think we're done. So let's see. Let's reload. Okay, this one worked, but the order list did not work. We wanted to change the numbers, but apparently we do not know how to change the numbers currently. I'm going to make sure I know that in our next video. But guys, please don't see me like some sort of idiot. I simply forgot. Anyway, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe to my channel so that you get more of this content and also get notified every time I post a new video. Remember, this is the chapter 2 of HTML, and our aim was to reach like chapter 5, right? To make sure that we've exhausted most of introduction to HTML. So I think we're not going to style the ordered list for now. So let me just get rid of it. You can just leave it. We're going to check what styles need to be supplied there. So this one, we could also make this one bold by simply adding a new text element called the bold, okay, the B. And then after adding the B, we cut, alright, and then we do that. So there are inline text elements like this one. We just added the bold. It's called the bold with the B. The I would stand for italic if you wanted to write it in italic. We have the superscripts and the subscripts. We will learn those ones later. For the sake of this video, we simply want to learn the things that I stated. So let me add into our page and reload and see. Yeah, as you can see now, this one is bold. Okay, this one is now bold. So I'm going to select everything, not really everything. I want to target the DL, the lists. Okay, I'm going to target the lists, the OL, the UL, and the DL. And what we're going to do is to give them a margin left. Alright, margin left, 3 them. So let's move them a little to the left, and then that should do everything for us. Okay, everything is to the left. Alright, now I think let's use the elements of sections. elements of sections, the articles, their side. So first of all, I'm going to use their side. Okay, so their side, to use their side, I'm going to, I don't know, what should we do? I'm going to introduce something called the division first, the div. Let's introduce the div, and then we are going to give this div a class equals container. Okay, container. Okay, so this container, I want it to have another div. Maybe a side. I'm figuring where we should put this aside thing. Aside. 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 So on our side, I think, okay, I want to put these things on their side. I'm going to cut these paragraphs. Guys, I don't know how to teach you this, because we're simply going to have to get rid of everything, reorganize them. So basically, let me just give you the theory here. A division or a div is simply that something that could hold you things. Okay, so such that you making grades, I don't know, the same to a side, but specifically a side is majorly used for sidebars. Okay, you want to have a sidebar like this, so you're going to use a side. Okay, you put it here as the aside. Okay, and I'm very sorry guys, there's a lot of noise and women, they're making lots of noise. I'm sorry to refer to them as women, but indeed they are women. That's the agenda, so that is that. Anyway, aside is for sidebars. So assuming we wanted to put a sidebar for a page here, okay, put some sort of sidebar here, we was going to use a side, okay, here, so that it becomes here, or maybe it could be this other side, but I like it at the left here. Okay, so I want to put a side here. Okay, and I want to put these other things in a container. Okay, this ones, so that a side comes here. Okay, and I also want to put a container for this one. Okay, so let me show you how to structure this thing. I'm going to put a container here to hold us this one and this one. Okay, and after that I'm going to have a container to hold me this on their side. Okay, so how many containers do we need? We need this one, we need this one. Okay, I think this one should carry us their side. Yeah, let me see. So I want this one let me call this container top, and then the container top should carry us this one, the bistro. Let me see, let me cut this one so that the container top carries us that one, and just move this one inside, and then we see. So first of all, let me see how it's going to be. Seems like there is a duplication. Or did we duplicate? Alright, so we simply did not cut it. Okay, let me get rid of that. So let me save, and okay, so we have that is well taken care of in the container. Okay, and then we are also going to have another container here, actually two. So first of all, it's going to be a div. Okay, a division of class equals contents. Let me just call it contents. Okay, and then that's not what we intend. That's what we intend. So here you're also going to have another. We're also going to have, we're going to have a side. Okay, and in their side we're going to have other things, and then we have another div of class equals me, and then we want to take all these ones, make group, and simply cut. So Control V. Okay, and then I close that, and then we close. Okay, I think that should close everything. So in our side we are going to have links. Okay, let me just say href here equals, put that. So this link is going to profile. What is this? Right. So we're simply going to add random links here. We say orders, and then let me see addresses. Okay, so that's what we have, guys. That I think should be it. So let me just see what we have done so far. Alright. And did not display well, so I think we're going to fix that with the styles. But first, let me just make sure everything. Alright, so in our style sheet here, we're going to style the contents. The contents first. Class of contents. What we're going to do is to display something called read. Let me simply say display flex. Okay. Now you can see. Oh, look, there is another thing. There's another thing. The links. They're displaying flex. We don't want them to do that. So what we don't do is to start their side also. Side. Alright, that's what we're doing. We want to list them like this, and then we could remove these underlines if we wanted to. I want to give them a little bit of this, a little bit of gap between them, so we simply say gap, and then we say like one rhyme. Okay. So that's what we have. So this is our aside. This is the divisions we've used so far, and I want to assume that you guys have at least gotten something throughout this video. So to recap, we have our style sheet here. We have HTML, the title, the style sheet which goes into the head. We have the link to our external sheet, even though we did not use an external sheet. So if you wanted to use an external sheet, guys, you would do that. You will create a file called style.css and put it there. We introduced ourselves into a div. We say division organizes us these things. So I think I should give them backgrounds so that you can see what they display like. Let me simply give them backgrounds. So contents is already here, so let me just give it a background. Let me see, blue. Okay. Alright, so as you can see, it displays like some sort of box. Okay, some sort of box. The same to our side would display a box. Let me show you how their side is going to show. Aside, no, background of green. Alright, as you can see, that also shows like a box. So they are simply containers. They contain things. Let me give this the top one a background so that you can see. The top one we call the container top, a class of container. Container top. Let me give it a background of red. Red. Okay. Yeah. Now, as you can see, the divs are simply divisions. The same thing happens to sections, articles, the navs. So even though we are not going to use them, I don't want to use them, but I could. Let me say a section. Let me try a section. Let's try a section. Let's try a section. Let's try a section, and we're gonna put it. We're gonna put it somewhere. Somewhere here. Let's say section. In the section, let me simply put an heading. Let me put an heading too, and call it section. Okay. And I'm gonna give it a background here so that you can see what I'm talking about. I'm simply going to say section and say background. Right. Okay, now as you can see, you also have another box here. So that's basically what these divisions are. Listen to articles. Yeah. So headers and footers, we did that in our last video. The only thing we haven't used here is span, but we used it in our last video, the chapter 1. So let me see, remove the backgrounds. Remove the backgrounds because they'll serve their purposes. So I'm going to move them. I'm going to remove them. I'm going to remove them. Let's remove them. Yeah. And save. Alright, so this is the final web page that we've created. So thank you so much for watching, and see you in our next video. Our next video is going to be chapter 3, where we're going to explore more and more when it comes to CSS. And also I'm going to come with how to style the ordered lists and change the numbers to Romans and every other thing. So stay tuned and press the subscribe button, and also put a notification bell so that if I upload the next chapter, you're always ahead of the others. So if you did not watch chapter 1, I'm going to put your link here so that you can watch chapter 1 and you combine it with this one so that you can better off your HTML skills. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video.